Hello, dear students. From today, we are going to start the second chapter of your science, that is nutrition in animals. So, in the previous chapter, we have discussed about the nutrition in plants. So, there in the last chapter, we have discussed about the modes of nutrition. If you see the nutrition modes of nutrition, so basically we have seen two modes of nutrition there in the previous chapter. First one was autotropy, and second one was heterotropy. Okay, so there in the previous chapter we have precisely discussed about the autotropic mode of nutrition, which was there in plants. Now in this chapter, nutrition in animals, there we are precisely going to discuss about the nutrition in animals now. Okay, so these things we are now moving towards the heterotropic mode of nutrition, and precisely here we are going to discuss the nutrition in animals. Are you getting this? So if you see, if I ask you what is digestion, if I ask you what is digestion, so digestion is what? Can you tell me what is digestion? Digestion. What is digestion? So if I ask what is digestion, so digestion is basically it is breaking down of the complex substances into the simpler one. Complex substances, the food that we are eating. Okay, our body our body needs that food in the simpler form. Our body consumes that one food in the simpler form, so it needs to be broken down into the simpler substances. Okay, so this is called the digestion. So digestion is what? Digestion is, if I ask what is digestion, breaking down of the complex substances into the simpler substances is called the digestion. So you're writing breaking down of complex substances into simpler substances is called the digestion, because our body cannot consume the food that we are eating. Our body needs the food in the smaller or in the simpler form. Okay, so to make it into the simpler form, then the digestive system works, and with the help of that digestive system, the food is being broken into the simpler components or the simpler substances. Okay, now students, if you see, if I ask you the different the process of consuming the food, you have seen different kinds of animals and they are consuming the food in the different way. Like if you see the bees are just sucking the nectar from the flowers, so this is how they are consuming their food. Now if you see the snakes, so snakes are also consuming. They do not they are they just swallow the whole organism. Like suppose they are just, here you have a snake here, and here it's a mouse here. So the snake is going to consume this mouse, and this mouse will go inside its mouth hole, so it will consume the mouth, sorry, it will consume the whole mouth and it will swallow it. Okay, so this is how the snake consume its food, means it swallow the whole organism. Okay, now if you talk about the starfish, so if you see the starfish just pops out its stomach outside, and whenever it see something outside, so just it's the starfish pops out its stomach and just straightway consumes it, then it move back again. Okay, so this is how a starfish eats. So here I'm writing uh, the process of consuming the food in different organisms. Process of consumption of food in different organisms. Okay, so there are different process of consumption of food. Now if you see, if you see the snakes consume, now if you see the bees, so bee consume its food by sucking the nectar from the flower. Okay, so bees take nectar from the flower. So this is how they are consuming the food. Bees take nectar from the flower. Now if you see the snake, so snake, they consume the whole organism, sorry, they swallow it. Okay, they swallow the complete organism, the whole organism. Okay, so snakes swallow the whole organisms. Okay, now if you see the starfish, so starfish specifically eats the soft animals. Okay, inside its a cell, it has a shell, so inside its cell it eats the soft animals. So whenever see any soft animal outside, it just pops out its stomach and just gallops it and just move back again. So this is how the starfish eats. So you can say starfish pops out its stomach. Starfish pops out its stomach to eat and move back again. To eat and move back again. So as they consume the food, then after the digestion begins. So first is the process, the first one process is what? First we have to consume the food. So we are also just consuming the food. As the food goes into our mouth, then from the mouth the digestion started. We just break the food into our mouth, then it goes into our stomach in other parts, and just some other processes are there. Okay, so this is how the digestion begins. So at first they are consuming the food. After the consumption of the food, then the digestion, the work of the digestive system starts after that. Now if we talk about the human digestive system, means when we consume the food and how the digestive system works, means how the complex food that we are eating just break into the simpler substances. Okay, so this is how the digestive system works. So now we are going to talk about the human digestive system. Human digestive system, first you note it down. Let me erase this if you have noted this. Okay, so write down now human digestive system. Human digestive system. Okay, so we also call it digestive tract or alimentary canal. Okay, also called it digestive tract or also called as alimentary canal. Okay, so if you see, the human digestive system has many parts. The digestion starts from mouth, then it goes into other parts. Okay, so if you, there are different organs involved in the digestive system. Okay, so what are the organs which are involved in the human digestive system? So first the food goes into our buccal cavity, into our mouth. Buccal cavity. First the food goes into our buccal cavity, then from the buccal cavity that is moved down into the esophagus, that is also called the food pipe or esophagus. Like this is your mouth, so from the mouth then it will move into our esophagus. This is the esophagus, means the food pipe. Okay, then after when it moved down into the food pipe, then it reaches into the stomach. Then after it reaches the food from the esophagus, it reaches into our stomach. Okay, it reaches into our stomach. Then from the stomach it moves into the small intestine. This is your small intestine. Then it moves into small intestine. Then from the small intestine it moves into the large intestine. Here you are having the large intestine. This is like, okay, large intestine. Okay, and this large intestine is ending in the rectum. Here is the rectum. Okay, and from the rectum, then from the through the anus, the undigested food comes out from the anus. Okay, so from after the large intestine, then ultimately the food, the undigested food, comes out from the stomach. So these are the different, you can say 1 2 3 4 5 6, these are the 6 different organs which are involved in the digestive system, in our digestive system. So the first, our food goes into the buccal cavity, then with the help of the food pipe, also known as esophagus, it moves down into our stomach, and from the stomach, then again it moves into our small intestine, and then from the small intestine, that it moves into the large intestine. This large intestine ends in the rectum here, and from here the undigested food comes out from the anus. Are you getting this? So this is how the human digestive system works. We are going to study one by one these things in detail in the class ahead. Okay, so uh, again you are going to get a figure there also. Okay, so in one by one we are going to study these things in detail. So till then we would be reading about the about these all different organs in the class ahead. Okay, then keep tuned and keep watching. Stay tuned.